I feel odd in this hat. Anyway, impossible! People started catching up. And now there are more and more people dissecting Riot's job listings. What's worse, after people started doing this, there was another leak. I mean, it's probably not a new one, but it's funny that leak is not the only thing that keeps leaking. Riot really has a problem somewhere that should be patched. Anyway, the reason why it would be a good idea to talk about this one is because this entire situation was quickly picked up by the big media. And so it's kinda hard to avoid it now. But what's funnier than that, the thing that actually leaked did not tell us that much. And so, let's talk about what happened. So, if there is one thing we love doing on this channel, besides talking about League's lore, or talking about the stupidest drama that appears around Riot games, it is looking into the job openings around Riot games. And that is because, in the vast majority of the cases, by looking at them, you are able to tell what kind of projects Riot is working on in the background. So far, from just these openings, we were able to uncover quite a lot of them. First of all, anytime there is a new job opening that is now marked as an MMO, it should be talking about the MMO using League's IP. Before this project really started spinning, it wasn't even marked as an MMO, it was still just R&D. Meaning that because everything else is still marked as an R&D, maybe it's not that far into development. Anyway, anytime there is a new job opening marked as an MMO, that's free 10 minutes of content for us. But besides the MMO, we also know that Riot is working on some kind of an action RPG that is also in the League universe. We don't know if this is an ARPG, kinda similar to the old Project F, or if it is a third-person RPG, kinda like every RPG ever. But we know it still exists, and we know it is developed somewhere in the Shanghai offices, because if you translate some of the job openings that I can't even pronounce, that's where you will find action RPG based in League of Legends. And yes, we also know that there is a project titled Project T, which is a multiplayer shooter that should be based in the universe of Valorant. And we have known about the existence of this project for more than a year now. Here's a video where we talked about all of that from August 2024. So all of these news are not really that new. And so, looking at this a year later, this project that was originally marked as an R&D, meaning research and development, in other words, this is where Riot is just trying to figure out if they can make something good, and well, that project is still alive. And the talks about this project were once again resurrected when the news article from GamePost came out and everyone started tweeting that one out. Here they first made an article where they just talked about what we talked about a year ago. The fact that there is an R&D project titled Project T and it kinda looks like an MMO FPS based in Valorant. And again they bring up all the job listings where Riot is asking people to know the Valorant IP. Now if you go back to our original video, you'll see that Riot was working on an FPS, which was not directly Valorant, which had RPG elements, narrative, and an MMO backend. This is also where the Project T name came from. It was directly mentioned in one of these job openings. And that's where they also asked people to have experience with lifestyle-like games, aka classic MMOs or your big games such as League, Fortnite, Minecraft, or Roblox now. Which means, altogether, now the game started shaping like an MMO FPS. I mean, once again, that part is mentioned in the job listing. And unfortunately, all of this started being seen in a bad light after Sarge OP showed people a leak, which apparently originally came from player IGN, who seems to have leaked a screenshot of the game. Yeah, it's kinda underwhelming. Now, can this be made up and faked? Yes, absolutely. Especially after people get their hands on Riot's assets, which is quite easy to do considering the fact that Riot is making their games in Unreal Engine, and with the right tools, Unreal Engine is very easy to crack open. But some parts of this are still curious. The blurred lines across the screen means that there was supposed to be a code. Think of this like a protection tag. If this was visible, it would be easy to find where this leaked from. Also, you can see that this image was taken with a phone, which means whoever took it was an a**. But outside of this, you can't really tell what the heck this is. What you can tell is that does look like Killjoy, which could have been ripped directly from Valorant, but that's kinda it. So was this a leak that ruined Riot's project? Not really. We don't even know where in the development this screenshot came from. This could have been at the very beginning. In fact, every game ever made looks like this early in development. You wanna know what my game looked early on? I'm proud of it. And so it's kinda like nothing really happened. Or, at the very least, this image gave us no new info. We are able to get a lot more from the job listings alone, with the most of this image being just placeholders. But what is more important is the discussion that spawned around this. All of a sudden, people started talking about a battle royale, which begs the question, where did that come from? Well, through pinging servers and poking around, people found that the mobile clients were linked to a big server. That's where that came out. But on the other side, you also have all the other people who believe that this means that Riot is making a hero shooter. Yes, ignore all the job listings for narrative and MMO backend. It is all because Marvel Rivals just proved the world that hero shooters are still on the table. I mean, over the last few years, quite a few managed to stick around. After Team Fortress, there were games like Paladins that slowly faded away, but then Overwatch came in. That one landed well, and now there was Marvel Rivals. But before that, there was also Valorant. Oh yeah, that's right. Despite the obvious comparisons to Counter-Strike, which makes Valorant a lot closer to a tactical shooter, the truth is that Valorant is a hybrid between a tactical shooter and a hero shooter. So with a game like this under their belt, why would they want to go for another hero shooter? Unless they really want to compete with their own game, they would have to take a step away from this genre. It is fine to have multiple FPS games under their belt, if they are different, and so it is possible that Riot is stepping towards the MMO direction for that reason. A Battle Royale or an MMO, kinda like Destiny, would be a lot better than making another hero shooter. And the thing is, both a Battle Royale and an MMO fit the job listings pretty well. You can do an MMO looter shooter, kinda like Borderlands or the mentioned Destiny, because both of these would fit the narrative of being familiar with MMOs. But unironically, a Battle Royale does this too. After you stand in a glorified menu lobby, you are essentially thrown into an instanced MMO. Sure, a classic Battle Royale would be missing the progression systems that Riot was asking for. Usually these games just get a battle pass, and that's it. I literally just realized that a battle pass was named after Battle Royale. But the thing is, if they are doing a Battle Royale, it is possible that Riot might just want to evolve that genre. In fact, that is exactly what happened to the League MMO. After they were deeper in development, Tryndamere mentioned that their MMO wouldn't give people the new, unique experience they would be hoping for. So they had to restart development. On top of that, they wanted to see how the MMO genre could be evolved. So they simply wanted to try and start a new trend instead of just following other trends. Which begs the question, what if this MMO FPS is trying to do the same thing? What if they want to tackle a new game genre with the Valorant IP, but they also want to see if that genre can be evolved? Again, we just mentioned that Riot just launched Valorant Mobile in China. And they did this to tackle the global scale. I mean, you wanna know what's the most used graphics card in the world? Integrated graphics, aka phones and tablets. Meaning that Riot is interested in the global audience, they are interested in expanding the Valorant IP, and they are interested in trying new things. But unfortunately, even after all kinds of possible leaks, we still have no idea what they really wanna do. At least outside of the idea that it's gonna be multiplayer. And so, going back to the current job listings, under the Valorant tag, you can see that there is a lot of game designers and producers, which kinda means that Valorant is expanding, or it means that it is trying to catch up. But surprisingly, there are no artistic positions available. Which is where we can make a lot of jokes that Valorant is already pumping out a lot of expensive skins. Then there is the MMO tag, which, as we mentioned even in a recent video, is focusing on the other Riot MMO. And then there is the Riot Discovery, which is essentially their R&D. In other words, this is the wild west of Riot's experimentations. But in all of these, I found one quite interesting position. There is the principal game product manager, metagames, and monetization. This is essentially the lead of the game that would be responsible for the game feel as well as leading the audience, including designing of meta systems and monetization. And what Riot is asking for is a relationship with PvP shooters, meaning it is likely also part of this MMO FPS. And I can tell you right now, whoever takes that job is gonna be the person that's gonna be blamed for a lot of the game's problems. But on the other hand, the salary of that position should be covering it.